Hello ladies, sorry for the couple minutes delay. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. So let me say hello first. Hi Matnat, hi Elaine, hi Ramona, Sharon, Darla, Karen, Adelaide, Carla. So yeah, here it's going to be 71 degrees today. Tomorrow it's going to be 76 degrees, and then Tuesday everything will go nuts and we are going to go again to below freezing, culminating to Thursday night. I think it's like 16 degrees, so we're gonna go again. So hi Colleen, hi Gayleen. So what I made, and I'm going to actually make two of them so that you can see the differences that depend on the texture. Hi Bernadette. So what I did here, I have a few Mokume Ganes, and let me try and make sure that it's not too bright. It might be a pinch too bright, especially because I'm working with light colors. Let's give it a bit more contrast. So this is very pastel-y, right? Hi Ellen. Well, it's end of February. If you think winter is actually December, January, February. A lot of people feel that February should be the first month of spring, but it's not. Spring is March, April, May. So we still have some. So what I did here, everything is done using a white pearl. So this is Premo. Okay, I use the white pearl as base, and about 1 part color to 4 parts white pearl. This part is green, regular green. This part is metallic pearlescent blue. And then I have this with the same combinations, with this part magenta pearl and this part cadmium yellow. So this will be the base, all right? But there will be, and it is on a, let me not tell you a wrong, it is on a 4 on a making, so it would be the 4th thickness, starting with the thickest. Now one thing that I need to do is to actually make this thinner and longer, as we are going to create a little bit of a color game here, and because this will be a stamped Mokume Gane. If you have watched my mini series where I explained what Mokume Gane is and how many variations there are, because you have the regular stacked Mokume Gane, and then you have the stamped Mokume Gane, then you have a technique known as hidden magic. But if you did not, let me show you where you can find it. So where you go on my channel, and then you click playlists, and you search in the playlists the Mokume Gane technique made easy. And here you have everything that I've been telling you about. A brief history and the color theory, how you should choose your colors. Then part 2 is practically put in practice the theory of the color theory. Then the hidden magic. This one, the number 4, shows you how to create Mokume Gane using various layers of skinner blends, which is pretty much what we are going to do today, but this one shows it in a stack. And this one is creating a gold leaf Mokume Gane. But if you go in the Mokume Gane projects, excuse me, you will find here some stamped ones, and also Mokume Gane using spirals that create a mica shift. This one is a stamped Mokume Gane. This one is a stamped Mokume Gane that's double-sided. So there's quite a bit of stuff. This is hidden magic, stamped hidden magic. Hidden magic generally is stamped. So, and then there are some 4 gemstones that are created using the Mokume Gane technique. So to get back to what we are doing, so you saw that I did stack this nicely, and I'm going to get it through the pasta machine on a 7, so much thinner than this one. Oops. Okay, this was not supposed to happen. It's gonna be just fine, no worries. So I said 7. Now, and I'm going to use this side. Now what I'm going to do is first grab a longer blade and try to set this as straight as possible, because I need 2 pieces that would be the exact same sizes. Oops. So this one is a little bit too much here. This is still too much here. Of course, you can use just a simple ruler to get a better thing here than just eyeballing. And then what I'm going to do is, let me see. First, I'm going to make little notations on 4, like if I would divide this in 4. You know what, I really need this to be not longer than my blade, so let me remove this part from the end, because I don't want to start bringing the ruler here and all that. Okay, now here you have to be very careful. So I go from the first sign here to the corner, and then from this side here, from the second notch to again the first notch. So we are going to get some different super elongated triangular stuff. And then from this notch to the third notch, and then from this notch to the corner. So we will get two pairs of similar sizes, but they will not be identical, all four. They will be like 2 by 2. And then I'm going to use a mirror just to make my life easier when I do this. And I want my mirror to be super clean. All right, let me gently move these away. And separate them. So you have 3 skinny ones and 2 wider ones. And arranging this Mokume Gane is the most difficult part because of this. Can you do it with the... You're gonna ask me, why didn't you just roll the whole thing up? Because this has mica in it. So if we do roll it, we are going to get the perfectly dark part of the clay. You remember, I'll show you here in a second. Oh, come on. I'm a tad tired, I have to say, because I did a relatively stupid thing last night, last evening. I was playing my game, and there is an area of the game that's... I play Guild Wars 2, for the ones who never heard about this before. There is an area of the game that is kind of like from the beginnings of it. There are some dungeons, and because of all the newer releases and expansions and everything, almost nobody plays those anymore. The thing is that you can get certain things as rewards if you do those, and I really needed some of those, but I've been trying for like ages to find, because you cannot do it by yourself, you have to have a party of 5, and I've been trying for ages to find somebody to do that with me. And finally, last night I found a group of people as crazy as me. We're all about doing that. So we didn't finish until we did it all, but it was like midnight. So as usual, I woke up at my normal usual, like 5:30, but still, that's not a lot of sleep. And now these, you can make them larger or smaller. All it takes is to just make a tighter Skinner blend. Let me... Where is it? It's here. Let me just finish this before it starts. And try to get it tight, 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 tight. Of course, you're going to have the spiral here. Hello, Karen. And then I went grocery shopping today, so that was another. So if you didn't figure this out yet, this is supposed to be the sky and the grass, right? And we are going to place these here. And the thing is that the wider ones obviously will have the pink inside. You can do other colors. You can do an actual pink instead of this lavenderish thing that I have here. So to get this easier, just roll a little bit of a bead in it. It will be fine. And stuff like this looks gorgeous. I mean, I'm going to resin it so you can. Oh, Guild Wars 2 has very, very simple controls compared to other games. Did you think of trying Guild Wars 1 first and then move to Guild Wars 2? Because Guild Wars 1 is kind of like a semi 3D. It's not really a full 3D. So there's less information reaching your brain all at the same time. You might find it easier. Yeah, that's why I said try Guild Wars 1 first, and then once you try Guild Wars 1, the transition to Guild Wars 2 will be much easier. But yeah, I don't know if I showed you that this is a sponsor's live tutorial that's also with the pearlescence and stuff done in this style. But you can do all kinds of, and yes, that is a stamped Mokume Gane. You can do all kinds of pretty stuff. Okay. And you know, you can you have settings there that you can set your camera to different kinds of movements and things. Okay, I'm going to try and move a little bit faster. Okay, so let's first do the little yellow ball here. And by the way, doing stuff like this is awesome if you want to do ceramic like stuff. It looks gorgeous to do things like this on your ceramic patterns. It's still a little cold. We had some cold weather for 2 days, and then again it's been a yo-yo weather, and I guess we are not the only ones in this state having that happening. Now, to move the mirror or whatever you want to use, you have to be very careful and not pull, because that's going to stretch your clay and make it thinner. Once you get to the larger part, it's going to be easier. Okay, let's call this a day. And again, press nicely, take it off. Let's place it here, and then do another large one, really quick. Okay, ball. See, it's not that complicated. Yeah, I was reading a discussion on a certain social media that I go to often. Was the idea that life was much less. If you say that, was a meme, like if you say that life was much less complicated when you were younger, and this was addressed to older people, right? Especially when you talk about your childhood and your teenagehood, life wasn't less complicated, was not simpler, you were simpler. And there were quite a bit of people that I agreed with were like, no, life was much simpler. There wasn't so much, we had less things to deal with. Yes, there was bad weather, but it wasn't bad weather like now. Right? Okay, before I go to the next step, and of course you can do it just like this, you don't have to do the Mokume Gane. Let me explain for people who haven't seen this before what happens in a mica shift. In a mica shift, imagine that these are mica particles. Let me wipe a little bit these so you can see better. I just grabbed them from the Okay, so if you don't know how mica looks like, mica is flakes. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm not gonna get up, I just don't want to get up. Mica is a mineral that is made out of very fine sheets that are just one on top of the other, and it looks almost like a kind of glass. This is a more magnified, and then those sheets, they get broken into flakes, and then those flakes that get more ground up. See, this is a bigger sheet, broken sheet. And that is what you have in your pearlescent slash metallic clay. You have various little mica, tiny mica flakes in a translucent clay. Another thing that I said, because the colors of these different hi Kim, I'm sorry. The colors of these various metallics slash pearlescent clays, you too, Adelaide, comes from either the color of the mica itself or color of pigments. Now, natural mica can only be most like a silverish translucent or a goldish translucent. Actually, let me get up so I can show you. So these are natural mica flakes, and you can find them on PolyClay Play. Let me grab. I always lose my. There it is. So this is the silverish kind. So this is what is in your polymer clay, but on a much smaller scale. As you can see, it looks pretty much transparent. So this is a natural white silverish one, and this is the goldish one, and there are all kinds of hues in between, but this one is also transparent. I have two here, so this is one. This is also transparent. So give me a second, Elena. I'll explain. Let me finish with the Mokume Gane, the mica shift thing, and then if I forget, remind me so I can tell Kim more about this. So let's think that these are super magnified mica flakes in your clay. And as I was saying before, before I finish, because I keep losing my train of thought. So the colored ones come either from the color of the mica or from a pigment. This is why you have to be very careful when you purchase mica powder to make sure that it is that color of mica, because there's a lot of synthetic mica powder, and that is what's mostly used for cosmetics, for fingernail polish, for polymer clay. Now, and I've shown this before, very good example with the Cernit metallics. You have to look very carefully if the color of the mica, when you buy mica powder, make sure it says mica powder, not mica pigment, because if you have if it's written mica pigment, the mica itself will be either silverish or goldish, but instead you'd have a powdered pigment there that gives that mica powder the color. And believe me, when I was doing my experiments on the faux Peter site, gosh, I think I bought like at least a dozen different so-called red mica powders before I found one that was actually red mica powder. And also in the polymer clay, like for example the teal, the green gold, I think it's called, the metallic Cernit, the mica powder in that is gold, but the color of the clay is that teal color. And this is why it gets, because it's got pigment, so this is why it gets such beautiful things. But again, the lines, this is what is so different in the Cernit metallic compared to other metallic slash pearlescents, because you get one type of mica shift when it's colored mica, and a different type of mica shift when it is mica plus pigment, because those little lines of mica, shifted mica, will have a different color. So what happens when you, if you notice, whenever you have when you cut your pearlescent, it will look like this. So it's got all kinds of streaks and stuff. But as you pass it through the pasta machine over and over, it will become nice, shiny, and satiny. And why is that? Because all the mica flakes inside, minuscule mica flakes, have aligned themselves flat like this. And then when you come and you deform it, either by using a stamp or by applying various instruments to do deformation, you will have your flat surface start getting all kinds of wrinkles like this. Imagine that these are the stamped or texture points. So you can see that the mica flakes that were originally aligned, now they go like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. But what happens when they do that? Remember, I showed you the mica flakes, and this is what happens when they do that. So when we have the mica flakes all arranged like this, you see the shiny. But then when they start going on the side, you see less shiny until they go completely vertical, and you see the dull part of the flake. So if we would have done this by rolling that sheet, rolling and cutting, so rolling like this and then cutting would have been like this, so we would have gone the dull part of the mica clay. This is why I did it like this, to preserve the shiny part, so that any deformation that would create a mica shift effect. Now I'm going to burnish this, and while I'm burnishing, I'm going to explain to Kim something. I'm not sure how new you are on my channel, but my channel is specifically targeted to people like over 50 and people who have all kinds of disabilities. Because I personally am disabled and I have all kinds of issues. My hands might not look deformed by arthritis, and that is because I have osteoarthritis, not rheumatoid arthritis. So I don't have the inflammatory type. I have the degenerative type, and I have to go like twice a year to get shots at the base of the thumb, because I have osteoarthritis of the base of the thumb, and on the right side there's a little spur that broke and it's floating somewhere there. So that would be one. And then I have all kinds of other issues, including fibromyalgia, side effects from cancer treatment. So you can be sure that if there is a tutorial that I'm showing, and if I can do that, you'll definitely be able to do that. So don't shy away from stuff. And generally when I show in tutorials, I show all kinds of methods of doing things, so that it would be the easiest way to do things without going through too much pain. And another thing, there would be days in which I might have specific pain, so I wouldn't be able to sit too long on a chair, or I wouldn't be able to pinch very good, or so on and so forth. Then I just do stuff that wouldn't require those specific motions. You know, I have twitching in my hands. That is a nerve issue because my nerves were damaged by the chemo. This is why I had to stop sculpting one-of-a-kind polymer clay dolls, and that because my hands twitching, I would mess them up while I was sculpting. But I generally show how to try and avoid this kind of issues. Alrighty, so we got this, and you can go with your finger over it, and you can notice that there is absolutely no thing going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this on the thinnest possible setting on my pasta machine. And I'm going to actually kind of pull it to make it even thinner. Your clay has to be very well conditioned for this specific vibing. What are you talking about? Van Gogh? Oh, I don't know. It's not Van Gogh's colors. Definitely not. Okay, so I got it as thin as I could. And I'm going to very gently place it on this. Oops. Excuse me. So make sure it catches at the edge, and then use your roller gently, because what you don't want to happen is, and you can use your roller or you can use your finger, you don't want to trap air. That's the whole issue about here. Alright, so let me grab it and turn it on the other side so I can remove the excess white. That Starry Night can be done quite easily in a cane form. And there are a few canes that try to reproduce that effect. Okay, now for the next step, I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to cut it in two so I can show you how the same thing, depending on the texture, can create two different pretty effects. Okay, so even if normally I would place my texture face up first and then the clay on it, because I need to shave, I'm going to place the clay on the table, and then should have cleaned this a little bit. I'm going to use this texture, that's a Cool Tools texture. And first, let's apply a little bit of always I'm using Armor All. I don't like to use water because I think it gives, what the heck is that? I think it gives, if I have even a little bubble of water left, it might create steam and create a plaquing or mooning, depending on how you want to call it. Now this is my biggest challenge because I need to make sure that I press enough. And with my frozen shoulders, that can be a little bit hurtful, but doable. Then I'm going to grab one of these. Remember, you can get these in a set of the long one for shaving and the short one for cutting really fine cane slices for like $5 at PolyClay Play. And please remember to use my affiliate. And as I was saying before, you can, with all this kind of stuff, you can always create the negatives. Whenever you have something pretty like that, you can always create some negatives. So I'm just going to grab this. Black would be better. Hold on, let me grab some more. Find some. Alright, and I'm going to place them here, because all you have to do is to shave, and yes, it's a lot of fun arthritis. I started having it at 50 because of the cancer treatment, so yeah, I feel for you. Okay, so all you do once you do this, all you have to do is to just shave and flip over and place it on the black. So once again, in order to do a proper shave, I saw that there's some artists that show you how to shave by bending a lot. I don't like to bend because bending makes you prone to gouging. And even if sometimes it is possible to fix if you gouge too much, the ideal thing is to go on an even shave as much as you can at one point, and then you can come at one time, and then you can come and redo it. And the way that I do it, always wipe your blade very often with Armor All, and see how I'm holding? I'm actually, my thumbnail, my thumb, the side of the nail rests on the tile, and this is how I hold. I maintain the same distance. Of course, where exactly it is depends on how deep I have to go, and it's not perfectly flush like this, it's more like this. Now if you can see, it's more oblique. Let me try and show you with this one. So it's not straight like this, it's more oblique like this, but this is how you maintain the same distance as much as possible. It's going still to be a little bit of bowing, of curving of the blade. But hi Linda, hi Hirasuna. So let's go ahead and try and, okay, I started a little bit too deep. See, I'm trying to get as much as I can from one pass. Doesn't always perfectly work, and if I want to use the little things, and remember they have to be flipped so that you can get the color. Sorry, I put it here. And for the next pass, again, I have put Armor All on this paper towel. And then I will come back and see if I need to insist on certain areas. Like, see here, I didn't go all the way through, or here, because I want to get what was the raised area perfectly out. And you don't have to place this perfectly set. And whenever you feel like your blade starts sticking, you know it's time for another swipe of Armor All. So it's not yet very... I will resin it so you can see a better, the effect better. So what I do, I put Armor All on the paper towel, and then I wipe the blade. So this, I normally don't have to go all the way to the edge, but I'm doing this just to show you how to control your shaving. But it's pretty much okay. Let me go here a little bit. There we go. And then the next thing again is burnishing, always with the waxed part on the clay. So there we have one. Now let's do the second one. Now see, this one looks more like something that you see through ghost leaves, if you want. So this will be one. Now on the second one, I'm going to use also a Cool Tools, but this time I'm going to use one that's more curly flowery stuff, and this is the Fern. So once again, I first put a little bit of Armor All on the clay. You never put the Armor All on the texture because it might just get in the little recesses and never get certain areas of the texture wet. And then I'm going to go again with the hard stuff. So I feel first where my piece of clay is, and then I'm pressing shouldn't stay very, as you want your clay to be very well stuck to the surface. And I'm going to place on top of this, on top of these, what I got there, and you'll see the different effects that you can get. Alright, so the same thing. Making sure that my clay is well stuck on the tile. See how I gouged here? So I guess I'm going to go by little spots on this one. Because you only want to shave off the leaves. You don't want to shave off what is not in a raised area. The white pearl on top should be thin enough, and remember that it was thin enough to kind of see what's underneath. Will be thin enough to allow you to show the colors under it. Let's go here. Hello. I think Finnegan came to poop. And you can see that now it doesn't look like a painting anymore. It just looks like some beautiful fern-like stuff. Okay, I gouged here again. But I think that we are pretty much good to go. So, once again, burnish. So first burnish with your fingers. And then you can use a little acrylic block just to press down. And then start the burnishing motion. You can release the wax paper from time to time to allow the polymer clay to move because it sticks to the paper. They are in the Amazon store. If you don't find it on Amazon, unfortunately you'll have to go to Cool Tools US, but most of them should be. Give me a second. Let me see if we have these two, and they can also be in the small size, not in the mega tile. Let's see. So if you go on in my store and you go in textures, sheets, pins, etc., the Cool Tools ones are first, and first will be the more geometric ones, more or less. Then we'll start more into the leafy kind. Be very careful when you get so this is what I used is the body wave. The body wave, this body wave that's on a small texture is the 2x6, 2x4, is the fine line. So they have two different, remember that what Cool Tool makes is it's 2x4. What Cool Tool makes as textures are for precious metal clay, PMC, so some of them can be very, very, very fine because they are for actual precious metal jewelry. So do not get the fine line. You can use the feathered, for example. You can use another longish one. These would work too, and also be careful because some of them are embossed and some of them are straight. You want the embossed whenever you see two different kinds like this one, because what does it mean? It means that if it's an innie or an outie, if it will be stamp like or texture like, embossing like. So let's see. So as you can see, here are come more intricate textures. So no, let me see. You can use the grass, but it's only in a large texture. You can use this, but the fern, I think they don't have it anymore. I'll have to look because sometimes they come back on Amazon with some of them. But you can use this one, the crown fern. You can use the plume embossed. I do have the plume embossed. It's a pretty good one. You could use this one. You could use this one. You can use the feather, but not the fine line. Never use a fine line for this. And you can use any of these, but as I said, not a fine line. And look if it is embossed. Generally speaking, what you see here dark will be what stays raised after you apply the texture. This one I really want to get it because it looks awesome. This one I really want to get it. But anyway, let's get back. So thank you, Elaine, for reminding people. The best clay cutters that I found that I really like, there's a company in the Czech Republic called Nemravka, and it is, let me put the link here, and I'm going to okay, the original one is, the original website is in Czech, but I will show you very quick. So see here, you have right here, you have English, press on it. Then we go on eShop and we look for okay, what is up with all this polymer clay? I guess they started getting yarn and other stuff. And then we go in tools, or you can look from here. But anyway, they have clay cutters, and they have Melanie Muir's cutters, but they also have their own, and I love their own. I got me a few, and it's very cheap. I mean, the prices here are given in a Czech koruni. So to make a let's see, DK, CZK2 USD. So let's find a good one that we like. Because as I said, they have their own ones. Here are all kinds of different ones, including the, let's see, here's a more special one, including the Scalpy. But see, like this, I got me some of these. So the big couple, I got this, I have this, and actually I brought it right here to use it. This one is 17 koruni, 17 crowns. So let's see how much does it make in US dollars. 79 cents. So don't be scared about what prices you see here. Even when you see 100 something koruni, it's cheap, trust me. See, like 31. Let's go for 31 for the earrings. It's $1.45. So I fully recommend you. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but they do have some absolutely fabulous cutters, and I fully recommend their cutters. Okay, I'm not perfectly burnished here. Yep, this one. So you can get yourself, because I think that the shipping was something like up to $15. Wasn't more than $15. And when you get cutters, they are not that heavy, and that's all I got at that time. I just put aside, I don't know, about $50, and I got a whole bunch of cutters from them. That's where I have all the as time, I think it took like a week, but I told you the shipping was not more than $15. It was fairly cheap. Okay, so now one more thing I need to burnish, and that is our scrap, our shavings sheet. That will look kind of like a coral, ocean coral, something. So first use your fingers to press down on the clay, and remember the wax paper will always show you where you have to insist, because it will not adhere to the clay where the clay is lower. It will only adhere to whatever raised. So first I'm pressing, and you can see I still have areas here that are not the same. And you can go ahead and use your fingers even more. And pressing again. And because it is mica shift, you can leave it not fully. If you want to sand it, remember all mica shift looks much better once it is very finely sanded. I mean, you can use like a 600 or an 800, not more than that, because no matter how careful you are, there will still be a very, very fine layer whenever you burnish and straighten it up. A very fine layer of mica particles that will get flat again. So once you sand that very, very super fine layer, that's like a 1/20th of a millimeter, you will discover underneath the perfect mica shift effect. So I'm using my roller. I'm not rolling, I am rubbing. Again, to create a burnishing effect. And I will be able to show you with the resin, it would be almost like it's baked and sanded and buffed. But we'll see here in a second after I resin it. So let's do a few. So on this one, obviously I'm going to use this because it's just pretty like that. All I need is to figure out how to place it. Actually, let me use this one. Yeah, this is also from Nemravka. Oops. I keep picking up stuff. Oh, it's been an hour, that's why my back is hurting. Yeah, unfortunately, like 2 years ago, I started not being able to sit on a chair for longer than an hour at a time without having to move around and do stuff. So this is the first. And once we put resin on it, you'll be able to see it better. Now let's do this one. Just one of them, please. And this one I'm going to use this. Or you know what, let me make earrings. Just a second. So yeah, these are Nemravka too. And the third one, I'm going to use this, and on this one I'm going to use the rounded triangle because I think it's going to look awesomeness. What do I want? Okay. I want this area. I think this area looks the best for my purposes right now. Okay, we got it. Now let's apply some resin real quick. Where's my glasses? I'm not going to even do all of it. Just do something really quick. What are you doing? You've already been here. How many times do you poopy? Here he has his own personal litter box. The other one, two around the house, he shares them with the big guys, but this is his own personal one. And yes, he pooped. Even pretty kitties can make smelly poops. And no worries, it's not smellier than normal, and it will disappear here in a minute or so, because that is from before he covered it up. And I started doing this thing with the resin. Remember that the Chinese UV resin, you can bake it without any problems. And if you bake it, if you harden it before you bake your clay, you will avoid your clay warping, because the raw clay is still attached to the baking tile or whatever you use. So I might have to grab the other bottle. Somebody sent me a question why I don't use a lighter to pop the bubbles. I do if I see that I have bubbles. If I don't see bubbles, I don't do it. And generally, I'm able to apply the resin without catching air bubbles in it. But if you want to be on the safe side, by all means use a lighter or one of those mini grill lighters that I have on the resin section in the influencer store. And this, yes. And depends on how it looks like. On some of them I don't really, but I add on this because it's kind of thin. On some of them I don't add the backing because they look just fine the way they are. I just nicely sand them and that's it. But it depends. Most of the time it depends if I decide to do a bezel or not. But remember, I show you with the resin so you can see the instantaneous result, as it looks pretty much like if it would look almost as good as if it were baked, then sanded, then buffed. I personally prefer to sand and buff stuff instead of resin in it. I think it looks more elegant, but that's my own personal choice. And especially since I discovered that pedicure wand and I modified it for sanding polymer clay, I don't have issues sanding anymore. My hands don't hurt. Okay, need to wait now for the first one to get. But I don't know if you noticed, the last couple times I went over an hour. Okay, right now I'm looking at the clock and I'm like an hour and 15 minutes, so I'm good. Okay, let me grab this out. And put this in. Alright, and I'm going to refocus so you can, I don't need this, a refocus so you can see it closer. make it more daylight, like. Okay, so this is the shaved pieces kind, and you can see it looks kind of like organic. I don't know, it's like trees, like corals, like however you want to call it. And I'm waiting for the other two to get, but as you can see, you can get really nice, and it can be seen even when it's still raw, that you get all these nice mica shifty effects. So that's almost done. And you can do this kind of stuff also with like fall colors if you want. Instead of blue and green for the backing, you use more like brownish, goldish. You can use the copper or the bronze in Premo, and then the top, you can use a goldish, and then make these things with like a magenta, or mix some alizarin crimson and some orange. Okay, so this is the Fern one. And this is the Waves one. As you can see, they are all make beautiful effects. And you can do this with, but if you do the fall one, don't do it with oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do this. Don't do it with white pearl as the top. Do it with kind of like 3 parts graphite pearl and 1 part black, and it's going to look awesome, I promise you. So I hope you liked it. Of course, you can try all kinds of other colors. I wanted to do a more delicate colors, spring-like stuff. And as I said, you can just leave it at the Skinner blends and the spiral Skinner blend. You can just leave it there and it will still be pretty. And I hope you liked it. Don't forget to please use my Amazon influencer store link whenever you buy stuff from Amazon, because your price won't change, but I get a few cents for your purchase. And don't forget to use my affiliate link to PolyClay Play when you buy from PolyClay Play, because that allows me to do the giveaways that I do every few months. Okay, thank you so much for being here with me, and don't forget to thumbs up, and if you're new, click the little bell so you can get notified when I go online or when I post something. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week to come. Bye.